So two more balloon questions. The National Weather Service website here says that 900 that weather balloons are released around the world from 900 locations twice a day, every single day of the year, including 92 released by the National Weather Service in the U.S. That they fly for at least 2 hours a day, drift as far as 125 miles in the ground. If it turns out, as it looks like, that the president and Mr. Trudeau sent Top Gun fighters to blow weather balloons out of the sky, does the president regret that, and is he embarrassed by that?
I'm not going to get ahead of what of any final decision. We just don't know yet. We actually just don't know. And as I've said, as my colleague has said from NSC, it is in consideration that could be the leading explanation here. Again,
is the president embarrassed by that?
No,
the idea that you would take hundreds of thousands of dollars of equipment?
Michael, let me answer the question. I don't think the president should be embarrassed, right, by the fact that he took action to make sure that our airspace, civilian airspace, was safe. I don't think that he should.
I'm sorry.
I'm answering the question. I am answering the question, right? The president took action because we did see that these objects were in the airspace of civilian airspace, and so to protect the civilian airspace, the president took action. He took recommendation by the Pentagon to take that action. I don't want to get ahead of what will be the final analysis, right, of what the objects may have been or may not have been. So don't want to get into a hypothetical here. But look, this is the president does everything that he can, everything in his power, right, to defend, to track, and to protect our airspace. And that's what you should glean from what the actions that this president took.
And then one follow-up, which is there's a lot of criticism out there that what really drove the president's decisions in the latter three shootdowns was an overreaction, a political overreaction to the criticism that he took on the Chinese spy balloon for waiting too long. In other words, that he was criticized for waiting too long in the first balloon, and so the reaction, the overreaction, the critics would say, is that he moved too quickly to shoot down the other ones before even knowing obviously what they were. How do you guys respond to that?
I'll respond to it this way. Two different things, right? The Chinese surveillance balloon, completely different operation, if you will, a complete different situation, if you will. It was a balloon, as you all know, that was a Chinese surveillance balloon. The president's number one thing was to make sure that we kept American civilians safe. He took recommendations from the Pentagon, who said that we should follow the path. And he agreed, they followed the path, but he also said the moment that they can to shoot it down, and that's what occurred. But let's remember what happened while the balloon was on its path. We were able to collect data from it. We were able to protect our security data on the ground and learn from the Chinese surveillance balloon. That's what we were able to do. And when it got over an area where it was safe, where we were able to collect, because we are collecting the data that's on the debris, right, that's on the ocean floor, and learning more about its capabilities. And when we were able to do that, they shot it down. And so we're going to learn a lot more because of the action that the president took and because of the action that the Pentagon took, right, with the recommendation that they provided with the president. So that's a different scenario. It's not the same. And as I just mentioned, with the objects, they were in civilian airspace. So the president took action to protect our civilian airspace. The elevation was a little bit lower, and he took that action.
They were in the civilian airspace with
two different
dozens, scores of balloons that are also in the civilian airspace every day.
I hear you, and I know that you just read me the national weather data or numbers of balloons. I get that. I don't know those numbers. That's the first time that I'm hearing about them. I appreciate you sharing it with all of us. But what I'm telling you is what I can give you from our vantage point, how we move forward. The Chinese surveillance balloon was very, very different than what we saw with these three objects.